With Mbeumo and Cunha coming through the door at Manchester United, it seems as if there are 3 positions left that we want to strengthen. This has been reported by all the major journalists, all the major outlets, including The Athletic, including Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano. Manchester United are looking at a goalkeeper, a defensive midfielder, and a striker. Now, in terms of goalkeeper, we've got it all figured out. We've got Lamens, who's the cheaper goalkeeper, 23 years old. Younger goalkeeper who will come in probably as second choice, but with the view to develop him into the first choice goalkeeper. And to be fair, could probably fill in at first choice. The other option, of course, is Emi Martinez, who has declared interest internally. We're hearing that he wants to join Manchester United, is telling his agent to kind of explore a deal. But Man United maybe deem it a bit too expensive. The Emi Martinez one is probably more if we sell Onana, which is not looking likely this season. However, that leaves us with 2 options. So let's say, for example, we've got Lemons in goal, right? Or Onana. Unfortunately, that leaves us with 2 positions left. Now, we were told that after the Mbeumo deal got done, we were going to go all out for a striker. Again, I'm not reporting anything from the Disco or the Sun or the Mirror or any of these outlets. I'm reporting it from major journalists, the tier 1 journalists. Internally at Manchester United, it was being discussed that as soon as Mbeumo's through the door, we will go all out for a striker. We know that Manchester United are broke, right? We know that. Coming into the transfer window, we knew 1 or 2 players, and then that's it. It's sell to buy. How are we broke? How are we sell to buy if, again, reported by David Ornstein, reported by The Athletic, even reported by Fabrizio Romano, we made apparently a late attempt to sign Victor Gyökeres. So we explored a deal. But also, we explored a deal and made a late approach to Hugo Ekitike. Ekitike cost around £80 million. Right? With or without add-ons, let's just say £80 million. £80 million is what you would pay probably for Sesko. Maybe even 70 million. That's what we're quoted around Sesko as well. We're hearing 70 to 80 million pounds. So if we wanted to go out and get Benjamin Sesko, if we can go out and get Ekitike, and we've got the facilities to go out and get Ekitike, or even Victor Gyökeres, who again costs about 60, 70 million pounds, then surely we can go out and do a deal for Benjamin Sesko. Well, apparently that's not what we're hearing. The funds of Manchester United they're just wired differently, apparently. So we can go out and sign Ekitike and Gyökeres, but not Sesko. Apparently, we don't have the funds to sign Sesko, and that is not something that is currently being considered. Now, yesterday, we heard that there were 3 strikers that Man United were considering, really strongly considering. It was Sesko, who was leading the line. He is the guy that we wanted to go out and get. If not Sesko, the other 2 options were Ollie Watkins and Nicholas Jackson. Well, what a difference a day makes, because that was yesterday. Today, Sesko's off the table as of now, unless Leipzig reduce their price, their asking price. So not if we go out and sell players, but if Leipzig reduce their asking price, cool. Ollie Watkins, there's been no approach. We've kind of distanced ourselves from reports. And the same with Nicholas Jackson. Apparently, we're not interested in Nicholas Jackson. Apparently, that is kind of, again, Ben Jacobs came out and said that we're not interested at the moment at Nicholas Jackson. We're not really looking at that. And David Ornstein did say that Sesko, Watkins, Jackson discussed internally, but none of them seem like a feasible approach at the moment. They are looking at other options. So now we are left with a conundrum. Who do we go for up front? And also, who the hell do we go for in midfield? Because we've been linked with no one. So today I'm making a video. I'm trying to discuss. Let's do a theory, right? Because we know funds are very, very tight. Let's say we sell a couple of players, whatever. We're bringing the goalkeeper. That's 15 to 20 million out, right? Let's just say it's Lemons. We've now got a budget. I don't know how much. Let's say 100 million, just over 100 million, to go out and sign a striker and a centre mid, a defensive centre mid. Today we're going to explore those options. What can we do at striker and what can we do at centre mid? And I want to ask you guys, I want to probe the question to you guys. Would you prefer a top striker and a decent centre mid, or would you get a top centre mid and a decent striker? And again, I'm going to be going through the options of the top strikers, the top centre mids, and then the decent strikers and the decent centre mids. Or I'm not going to say decent, I'm going to say cheaper alternatives, right? So let's start with who would be ideal, right? Who would be ideal? So as we know, up front, we want Benjamin Sesko. This is our ideal choice, right? Make no mistake about it. Sesko is a great player. Sesko would be a huge, huge upgrade. A lot of people say, oh, what's the difference between Sesko and Højlund? If you're asking that, then you probably haven't seen Benjamin Sesko play. He is much more involved in terms of the build-up. He's a much better finisher than Højlund. It doesn't really take much to do that. Much better finisher than Højlund. But I think the biggest difference that really stood out to me is his ball striking ability. This guy has that X factor that you need in a striker. If things maybe aren't going right, if the ball isn't really finding its way to him, he can just take it. And whether it be a curler, whether it be a dipped shot, I've seen him do a trivela, an outside the boot shot. I've seen him do it all. This guy's ball striking ability could potentially be a dead ball specialist rather. That's how good he is at striking the ball. Something we don't really see from Rasmus Højlund. But not only that, his frame is absolutely huge. He's quick for how big he is as well. And all round, he's touted as one of the best young strikers to go out and get. And he's not too young. He's not at that profile where he's 18, 19, and then you're fighting between him and Højlund. No, this is someone who's going to come into the team, replace Højlund, or bench Højlund, right? And in that way, you've got less pressure on Højlund. He can go... My main thing is, we shouldn't be giving Højlund the starting role. And if some of you are going to say we should go all out for a midfielder and forget the striker, Højlund can do something, he can't. Breaking news, he can't. I've seen this guy play. If you still think there is a player in Rasmus Højlund, good for you, great for you, but it's not Manchester United. I'll say that. Rasmus Højlund does have the ability. Is the ability the right word? He's got the tools to be a good striker, to be a class striker. And that's why we signed him. That's why we sanctioned £70 million or whatever it was for him. But not at Manchester United. Whether it be the confidence, whether it be just the way, how quick the Premier League is. He can't really get the ball out of his feet. He's not finding the right space. His movement's the biggest red flag for me. I know a lot of people say about his dribbling. I think his movement is the biggest red flag. But besides the point, right? We need someone to bench Højlund or replace him. Sesko is that first choice, right? If we can't get Sesko, we've discussed as well, like I mentioned, Ollie Watkins, right? These are the expensive options that I'm giving you. So Sesko, Ollie Watkins, and then the other one was, who was it? Nicholas Jackson. So these are the expensive options. Nicholas Jackson I'm going to put aside now because I don't think there's real interest there. I don't think it's someone that we're actually really looking at. I don't know. Let's say these three players are off the table, right? Out of these, actually, I'm going to say Sesko, right? So do we do this? Do we do Sesko? And then I'm going to give you the cheaper options to begin with for the centre mid, right? So let's say we know we need a centre mid. We know we need a defensive midfielder, someone who can... These are the criteria. These are the things that we need to be looking at when we're signing a DM right now. Physicality, right? In terms of their frame, they need to be physical. Somewhat physical. I'm not asking for a demon. I'm not asking for over 6'3" or something, but somewhat physical, right? Ground eater. This person needs to be able to run for their absolute lives, up and down, right? Can anticipate a counter-attack and can prevent counter-attacks, right? I'm going to get onto another one actually, but let's put this as number 3, right? Can anticipate, where do I need to be to stop this counter-attack? Can see the counter-attack before it's even happened. I don't want our players to be reactive, I want them to be proactive, right? Ball winning ability, so they need to be able to win the ball, of course, speaks for itself. Tackling, hunting people down, getting the ball back. But then it's what they do when they have the ball. Progressive play. I want the centre mid, whoever we sign, to be able to get the ball, right? They've won the ball back. Great. I don't want you to panic. I want you to be able to drive our team yards up the pitch. I want you to take Man United's structure and move it up, right? I want you to be able to glide past 1-2 players, then pass it away. That's all I want. And that's not hard to get in a centre mid right now. Listen, it's a lot. It's probably shouldn't. It's not what we should be looking at, but it's because of unfortunately, Bruno in the centre mid role isn't the best. Right? He doesn't have that discipline to kind of track people and run. So we're going to need a ground eater, someone who can run for 2 people. Right? So, that being said, who are the cheaper options that Man United... And listen, I'm not going to be bringing people out of thin air. These are people that we've actually been linked with. And everyone here, you've heard, there is a report of Man United linked to this player. So I don't want people saying, oh, why don't we go for this guy and why don't we go for that guy? This isn't that type of video. I've made videos on the past where it's like, why don't we go for this guy? And this is a wild card. This is more realistic. Because I actually want to solve this. I want you guys to solve this with me. So, let's say the first choice, and we're hearing this is someone that we're going to look at towards the end of the window, is Wilfred Ndidi. Right, so, obviously Leicester player. Wilfred Ndidi is a great signing. Wilfred Ndidi is a league-changing signing. If we were in 2015 or 16, whenever it was, that Wilfred Ndidi was relevant. 2017, maybe. I don't know. Wilfred Ndidi in 2025 is a ridiculous statement. I'm sorry. I don't see it at all. Listen, we need a DM. We desperately need a DM. As bad as it is, we could probably do with someone like Wilfred Ndidi. But this is the problem with the midfield right now. We've got so many replacement players. We've got so many squad players. So you got Bruno, right? Who goes next to Bruno? Casemiro should not be starting. Casemiro shouldn't be at the club. In all honesty, he shouldn't be at the club. Right. Who else have we got? Ugarte. The signing of Ugarte, the fact that we signed Ugarte last summer and we're already looking at a DM to go alongside Bruno, that tells me the signing of Ugarte was a failure. I like Ugarte. I think I felt bad for him that he's been brought into a team and kind of just been pushed around and, you know, hasn't really been given an opportunity properly and is being asked to do things that he's not good at. He shouldn't be that type of guy to be winning the ball back and then progressing. He shouldn't be the guy to find a pass and all that kind of stuff. He lacks, obviously, the physical presence, whatever. The signing of Ugarte, the fact that we're in the market for a DM already shows me that Ugarte is a failure. Because if Ugarte was a successful signing, we wouldn't be looking at a midfielder right now. We wouldn't. So that already tells me that Ineos failed on that signing, right? Mount. Mount is not a midfielder. I'm sorry. Mount is not a midfielder. If we play Mount in midfield, it's not alongside Bruno. Rather, it's to replace Bruno. Right? That should be a substitution thing. That should be, right, Bruno's coming off, Mount's coming on. Right, let's give Bruno a rest, Mount, you replace him. They're more similar than they are different in that sense. They're more of the similar type of player in that they're more attacking, they're more find the pass, you know? Like, they're more creative. The ball kind of goes through, the play kind of goes through them in a sense. So, Mount shouldn't play alongside Bruno. So already we've got 3 players in centre mid, taking up that spot in centre mid. None of them can play alongside Bruno, which we know is going to start. Bruno is going to start. Right. Menu. Again. Fantastic player. Unbelievable player. I think better than all of these 3. But not someone that starts alongside Bruno. Doesn't have the legs to cover the duty that Bruno lacks in. Do you see what's happening here? So we've got all these players. Then we've got Kone, who obviously, I don't want to hear talk about Kone. He's 18 years old. He's going to be going out on loan this season. He hasn't got any real first team game time. There is a player in there, which is why we've signed him, which is why we're loaning him out for development. But right now, he's not in first team squad. Right? Let's forget about that. You've got Collier as well. Good option. Good FA Cup run, Carling Cup run, Carabao Cup, whatever they call it. Always be the Carling Cup to me. So we don't have a real out-and-out option. If we sign, this is my problem. If we sign a cheaper alternatives, one of the cheaper alternatives, the likelihood of them becoming a starter, the likelihood of them becoming a staple in the team that we're not going to have to replace a year down the line, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, the likelihood of them not becoming another number in that midfield that we're not really going to use, isn't really good enough, is highly unlikely. It's very, very highly unlikely. They're probably going to be another Deadwood player. They're probably going to be a player that we're going to have to move on or replace that, you know, is going to give us a headache down the line. So is it worth it? Is it worth it? But at the same time, we can't walk away from the transfer window without signing a DM, a defensive midfielder. We can't. So for that reason, Ndidi I'm going to rule out because I think his legs aren't what they used to be. Right? He is better in the role that we need him to be than any of the players that I mentioned. That's a fact. But still not good enough. And both things can be true, right? So who's after? This is someone that I spoke about yesterday, I believe, in my video or the day before. Hayden Hackney. Hayden Hackney, go back to the video I made, 3 players Man United must sign. I spoke a lot in depth about Hayden Hackney. But in summary, this is someone who's played under Michael Carrick, has been tutored by Michael Carrick. So in Michael Carrick, he's going to be that person that always looks to drive the ball forward. He's not a sideways guy. He's not someone who's going to get the ball and look sideways and go. No, he's going to look straight. He's going to get the ball, turn and look and try and find a pass frontwards, right? Forward, sorry. If not, if the pass is not available, he's going to try and progress the ball out, which is what I like, right? But then the risk is Hayden Hackney is someone who's 23, plays for Middlesbrough in the Championship. So there's that. Which is not a reason to not sign him because Like I mentioned, Crystal Palace mainly do their business from the Championship, develop them and sell them for 50, 60, 70 million pounds, whatever it is, upwards and onwards. But there is a risk still attached to Hayden Hackney. Is he the finished article? Is he the finished product? Of course, there's something that we'd have to consider. And if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, if he doesn't turn into the 50, 60, 70 million pound player, again, it's deadwood that we cannot move on, or we're going to struggle to move on, or it's just going to make up the numbers, right? But I do like the profile of Hayden Hackney. I'm not someone who's going to sanction the signing of Hayden Hackney to Man United. That's not my job. As fans, that's none of our jobs, right? Who's next? We have got someone who I couldn't believe we're linked with, and I'm not even going to spend too much time. It's Tolisso. We like pace in midfield. We like physical presence in midfield. We like all that kind of stuff in midfield. Why are we signing a midfielder whose legs have basically gone? Couldn't do it at Bayern Munich. Went back to Lyon, got a red card against us in the Europa League, that famous Europa League semi-final, quarter-final rather. Was it quarters? Yeah. Regardless, just doesn't work out. Like I really don't want to be linked. So, out of those three cheaper alternatives, cheaper options, let me know in the comments if I'm missing anyone. I don't think I am. Out of the cheaper alternatives, because unlike the striker position, I've got all these players, plus the cheaper alternatives I'm going to go ahead with, plus Gyökeres, plus Ekitike, plus Liam Delap. We've been linked with so many strikers. Midfield, it seems like we haven't been linked with anyone. But yet, we're hearing from The Athletic and we're hearing from other reports that although our main target was a striker after Mbeumo, no real frontman has shown themselves. So we're looking at other options in midfield, potentially. Who? Doesn't make sense. Out of these three, Tolisso, Hackney, and Ndidi, I would choose Hackney. So, do we walk away? This is option number one. Do we walk away with a top striker in Sesko and a decent midfielder in Hackney? Right? Because let's be honest, if Hackney's in there, what if he doesn't hit the ground running? If he doesn't hit the ground running, we're back to this. Cool. So that's option number one. Let's just say Hackney, right? Because he's there for a reason. Option number two is we sign a top midfielder and a decent / cheaper striker, right? So let's go through those options. In midfield, we're going to go, again, the top options. You guys have heard me speak about this guy before. Carlos Baleba. This guy, you know all those things that I mentioned? He covers them all. He's brilliant at them all. Ground eater, ground covering, yes. Physical, yes. Ball winning ability, yes. Drive us up the pitch, yes. Aggressive, anything that we need. Anything that can run for ages, yes. Young, yes. Can become one of the best midfielders in the world, in the Premier League or in the world at what he does. In that type of midfielder, that archetype of midfielder, yes. Baleba is the gold standard. That is really who we should be aiming for. The only problem with Baleba is that he's probably going to cost, if you know Brighton, probably 100 million plus. Because they sold Caicedo for 105 or whatever it was. So why wouldn't they sell, or even was it 115? I don't even remember. Why wouldn't they sell Baleba for more? Or for the same? Because he's come in and replaced Caicedo, arguably done as good of a job, if not better, than Caicedo in that Brighton team. So there is a problem there. Right? But make no mistake about it. Baleba is the gold standard. Baleba is the ideal option. That is exactly who we should be going for. And like I said before, whoever gets him, I'm super, super, super jealous. Because I don't think it'll be Man United. So let's say Baleba is off the table. Who's another type of striker that we can go for that's a similar mold that we've mentioned before? Lamine Camara. I'm not going to lie to you. I hadn't heard of this guy too much before England versus Senegal. That's when I really started hearing Lamine Camara, what a game. Then I'm hearing Monaco. Obviously, he's gone to Monaco, and I'm hearing his performances at Monaco are impressing. Maybe people discovered him after the England and Senegal game, went back to watch his performances at Monaco and said, wow, this guy's a player. I remember when Pogba signed, everyone was like, oh my God, Monaco have Pogba and Camara in the midfield. They're going to be going crazy. In short, Camara is the exact profile that we're looking for. Like Baleba. Baleba's just better at everything than Camara. But Camara will be available for much cheaper and is still very, very young. Can develop into an absolute beast. An absolute animal. You're looking probably at around 50 million, let's say, for Camara. Which isn't that much. Let's be honest. For a defender, midfielder that we feel can lead our midfield, can really hold together our midfield that long. Wow. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And we're developing a little African core. Hey, let's add to it, man. Why not? So Kamara is that type of midfielder. Again, similar to Baleba, similar to... All these midfielders are going to be that kind of... Those things that I mentioned. That's what we're looking for, right? So they're going to be able to fit that criteria. Kamara and Baleba are 1 and 2. That's who we should be going for. If it's not Baleba, we should be pivoting to Kamara. If not Kamara, then maybe we go for a familiar face to Ruben Amorim. And we get, forgive me on the pronunciation, Hjulmand. Reminds me a bit too much of Højlund, but I'm going to put that to the side. This is, I believe, Sporting Lisbon's current captain. Played under Amorim in this exact role. So he knows it to a T. In that DM role, he knows it. That's him. Right? Amorim brought him in to play that role for Sporting, done it amazingly well. Could we sign him from Sporting to replace whoever is going to be in that role and start alongside Bruno Fernandes? It's a real possibility. We haven't seen the strongest... I genuinely thought going into the transfer window, we were going to see us linked with him a lot more than we have been, but no real credible journalist has come out and said that we're looking at him. We've had bits and pieces here and there. Like I said, everyone that I'm mentioning, there's reports that we've been linked to them. Doesn't mean it's the strongest reports. The stronger reports, I always tell you that this is what we're hearing, blah, blah, these are the stronger reports. But we have been linked to him. And I think a report even came out today that we're battling City to sign him. He is going to cost a lot more than I thought. I thought we could probably get him for about 40 or 50 million pounds. We're hearing about 70 is what Sporting want, which is crazy. He's 26 years old. He's obviously really good at what he does. Again, fits that criteria to a T. But in my opinion, Baleba and Kamara are really who we should be looking at. Right? We made the mistake of signing ex-manager players before with Ten Hag. I'm not saying that that's what we should do for Amorim, but it just feels a bit too similar. Right? Plus, we need to be progressive. We need to be forward-thinking. Just because the manager's played with this player, or managed this player rather, and they've been together in the same team, etc., doesn't mean that that's always the best option. What if we find a better option who's even younger and even better? And that's what I think we have in option 1 and 2. So let's just put Baleba in there for now. Although I do think he's slightly unrealistic for this transfer window, let's put Kamara. Let's put Lamine Kamara in there for now. Right? We can't get Lamine Kamara and Sesko together. So who are the cheaper striker signings? Well, option 1 is someone which I really don't know why reports haven't been stronger linking us to this guy. I really, really don't know. This was probably one of my ideal strikers starting the transfer window. I really wanted this guy. And I still do. Jean-Philippe Mateta. I don't know why we haven't been linked to this guy. Bro, have you seen his celebration? Have you seen just how wham he is? Have you seen his moustache? Have you seen his head shape? It's all perfect. What a player Mateta is. Premier League proven. What have Mateta, Mbeumo and Cunha got in common? What? They have all proved it in the Premier League last season. Right? And they're all going to make up our attack. If a Mateta signs, they're all new players to make up a brand new front three for Manchester United. Premier League proven. Scored, I should know. Is it 20 goals? I don't know. Less, 15 maybe? In a Crystal Palace side. Got them European football, although that's disputed right now with Nottingham Forest. What a game that's going to be. Can't wait for it. But, I don't know. When you watch Mateta, the way this guy is able to bring people into play is ridiculous. He might be the best hold-up striker in all of the options. Both the cheap options and the expensive options. He might be the best. Hold-up play, this guy's ridiculous. Not only can you not touch him, not only can he just give you a stiff hand and just stay there, bro, and lead into you. He doesn't wrestle like Højlund does. But the way he'll just like, bam, the ball's coming, bam, kick it to you. Ball's coming, okay, I'm going to wait, bam, switch it that way. And he's familiar with the system to a certain extent. Glasner plays a similar system at Crystal Palace, where he's got one striker who leads the line and then people playing off him. Mateta is a perfect fit, I thought, for that Amorim system. And is an Amorim striker. Amorim, if you look at Højlund, if you look at Gyökeres, if you look at all the strikers we're linked to, they're all big, physical strikers that like to run in behind or bully defenders and really be in and around the box. Or do both. And we've got that in Mateta. So, when you're looking at just smart options that won't cost a lot, Premier League proven, can maybe nurture the younger strikers which you've got in Højlund, in Xerxes, in Chido Obi, right? Let's not forget about him. Why is Mateta not an option? Why is he not more strongly considered than other players? Maybe there's something internally that we don't know as fans, right? How much would Mateta cost? I'm going to say 30 to 40 million pounds. Let's say 35. 35 million pounds. So that's one of the cheaper options, right? Then you've got another player who we've been linked with, and I think links are strongly growing. Apparently, he's someone who's internally discussed a lot at Man United. It is Moise Kean. Shelled it up last season in Serie A. Got over 20 league goals, I believe, in Serie A for Fiorentina. Got them to the final or semi-final of the Conference League. I believe it was the final. Yeah, I'm sorry, semi-final. It was semi-final. Brilliant player. Brilliant player for the Serie A. I don't know if he's going to convert well into the Premier League. This isn't actually a theory. This isn't something that we can just, would he convert well to the Premier League? Can he? Well, he's played in the Premier League. He actually used to play for Everton. Didn't do well at all. One of their worst signings in that era. There was a weird era. To be fair, all their signings were pretty bad in that era. So I don't really hold it against them. Plus, I am a believer that a player can play in a league, go away, get better, and come back. If you don't believe that, then, Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah are two prime examples. But regardless, Moise Kean is a player that apparently we've been looking at and wouldn't take a lot to get him out because, number one, of course, the Premier League attraction is a big thing. Playing for Man United is a big thing. But also, he has a release clause. I believe the release clause is about 40 million euros is what I've read. So again, wouldn't cost an arm and a leg. I just don't trust in him fully. He could come and shell it up. He could come and become an amazing striker. I just think there's more of a risk there than the other players we've mentioned, especially Mateta. But let me know what you guys think. Would you take Moise Kean at Man United? Well, to be fair, I think all of us are going to say yes to a lot of these players because we've got Højlund up front. Let's put that to the side, right? Again, we need someone to come in and either replace Højlund, which is a possibility we're hearing, by the way, that Højlund could be sold this summer if a right offer comes in, or bench him. So to just take that pressure off him, take that load off him, because his confidence right now is poor. Right, who's another option? Randell Kolo Muani. Someone that we looked at during January, if you remember. We were linked to him in January, but he ended up going to Juventus. Done okay at Juventus. I remember him scoring on his debut quite a good goal, but they didn't take up the offer to sign him. So Kolo Muani is one of those players that PSG have signed for a huge fee and are really struggling to get rid of. So there might be a loan option there. There might be. It's not something that I'm sure of, but you can see the type of strikers that we're going for. All physical, all big, all strong, all can lead a line, be that solo, singular number 9 in a team. And like I said, quick enough to run in behind if needed, but mainly that hold-up play. Being in and around the box. Kolo Muani is an option. Not my favourite option, but still, would you guys take Kolo Muani and Kamara? That's another one. That's another question for you guys. Another one, we're going to go back to Juventus. In a weird way, in a very weird way, I would take Vlahovic over Kolo Muani. On a loan, I probably would. Maybe even on a short-term agreement or a very low fee. Why? Kolo Muani will probably, if we sign him, I think he'll be hard to get rid of. Right? I think he'll be harder to get rid of. But not only that, I think Vlahovic is available for very cheap. This guy's done it before. Cool. He might not be the finished product, right? Oh, finished product. He's not young. He might not be as confident as he previously was. He might not be as good as he previously was. He might be a little bit washed. That's what I'm trying to say. He might be a little bit washed. At the same time, he has been there and done it. He has scored a bunch of goals in Serie A. If we're looking at Moise Kean, then why not look at Vlahovic? Because Vlahovic was another Fiorentina striker who showed it up, got his move to Juve. Moise Kean is basically the same but younger. So is there something in their play that we're noticing that is different? Vlahovic, all I'm saying is, listen, he's not my first choice option. Mateta would be a better option than him, I believe. And obviously the other strikers that we mentioned, Ollie Watkins, Benjamin Sesko, etc. Potentially even Nicholas Jackson. But he's not the worst option. The worst option, the option that I really do not want. And this is again something that we've been told that Man United would look at later down the window. You guys have probably guessed it. It is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's name has been mentioned alongside Callum Wilson, who's also a free agent, and Jamie Vardy. These are code red. This is emergency options. These are, we've tried everyone. No one is budging. We can't do anything. Who can we get? No one's coming. We need a striker. We have to sign a striker, but no one's coming. It's deadline day. We don't have money. Chido Obi's broken. He's done his leg. Joshua Xerxes has, I don't know, he started a fashion page and he's focusing more on that than football. Højlund, nah, he's available. He's available. But I don't want to play him. That is what this would take for me to be happy with Dominic Calvert-Lewin at Man United. And happy is an exaggeration. Happy is an overstatement. I'll just be... I hear it. There is not a world where we should be going, cool, all options are off the table. Who else is left? Oh, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Yeah, you come here, mate. The guy who couldn't do it at Everton. The guy who has injury problems. The guy who can't be consistent. The striker that doesn't score goals. It all sounds too similar. I don't want to see us linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't want to see us linked with Callum Wilson. I don't want to see us linked with Jamie Vardy. Please. Please, let's stop those links. We are Manchester United in 2025. We should not be... Any big club would not even consider these guys. Like I said, if it's last day of the window, if everything, all hell has broken loose, we've got no money, there is still an option better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Callum Wilson and Jamie Vardy. And you can't convince me otherwise. You can't. Joshua Xerxes would start over Calvert-Lewin, so I don't know why we'd even look there. We're looking for someone to come in and improve the team. So, again, I'm not even going to get too annoyed because I'm hoping this isn't even a thing. So, out of Calvert-Lewin, Vlahovic, Kolomuani, Moise Kean, Mateta, who would be the first option, the first choice out of the the cheaper options? For me, it will be Mateta. So, now we've got options. Now we've got option 1 and option 2. Option 1. Actually, let's start with option 2 because it's already on the screen. Option 2 would be a cheaper striking option and a more expensive or a bigger midfield option, right? So we've got Mateta and Lamine Kamara. If Mateta isn't available, if Mateta is not available, let's put Moise Kean in there because I do think he would be the second choice in that bracket, right? In that cheaper bracket. Would you take Mateta or Moise Kean and Lamine Kamara, or would you take, where is he? Benjamin Sesko and Hayden Hackney? What would be your option? That's really what I wanted to do in this video. I wanted to go through all the expensive options and the cheaper options for both positions. And because we're not going to be able to get 2 expensive options, and I hope to God we don't get 2 cheaper options, let's kind of figure out, let's put 2 and 2 together and figure out what would be the best option if we were to go, what would you guys rather? A top striker or a top midfielder? And then the second position is a cheaper alternative. Let me know what you guys would take in the comments below. Let me know if I've missed out any players. And again, please bring forward players that are already linked or there's been some conversation around them and Manchester United. Again, I'm not looking at The Sun. I'm looking at some credible journalists. Even the Hjulmand rumour wasn't the weakest because it came out of Portugal. So it wasn't really the weakest, it was around the club. But regardless, let me know if I missed out any players. Let me know what you want to see next because I'm trying to figure out videos to do, but it is a bit difficult because Man United aren't really doing too much and it is proving quite difficult. But let me know what you want to see next. Subscribe to the channel. It's an ever-growing community. Be part of that community. Like the video and I'll see you very, very, very shortly.